with Squirtle, and we're gonna do whatever the fans want us to. Let's see. And in the meantime, we'll just, maybe watch some YouTube videos.
Stream Elements said, X Sablegui 97X is now live. Streaming just chatting, chilling with Squirtle.
What university did these kids go to?
Never seen!
Eat a bagel! Now I'm dead!
This video is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. Be sure to subscribe and help get this video to 2,000 likes.
And I say,
It's a brand new year, and DW's brand new obsession is with polls. No, the other kind.
Name something you always wanted to do.
That's not even a poll, that's an open-ended questionnaire, you plebe. DW pushes her petty polling onto Arthur and Francine, who for some reason aren't sitting with DW and her mom. Good call. Arthur says he wants to play a professional concert while skydiving, which, gravity and everything aside, would only last about 4 minutes. Also, how the hell would he get the whole audience in the air with him? But it's still not nearly as dumb as Francine's goal.
I'd like to orbit Saturn, so I could practice my drive to the net without friction or gravity.
Okay, Francine, 2 things. First off, the rings of Saturn aren't actually rings. They are a swirling collection of space rock, ice, and cosmic dust with no solid surface, so they would make a horrible hockey rink. Second, there is absolutely both gravity and friction around Saturn. That's what's keeping the rings in orbit. God, what second-rate university did these kids go to? Binky strolls in and uses DW's questionnaire as an excuse to steal their drinks, while Mrs. Reed doesn't do a goddamn thing.
you wipe that damn smirk off your face.
That afternoon, Arthur and Buster kill time by feeding their OCD with potato chips.
The first pile is big ones, then small ones, burnt ones, ones that look like a duck.
I like stack.
DW tries to interrupt their Ruffles ritual when Arthur tells her to piss off. He tells her she can have some chips if she can wait 5 damn minutes. DW says screw that and goes on a one-woman bitch parade.
Arthur won't share, and it's my house too because I live here and I have right.
You have the right to shut the hell up.
The boys stumble across a giant green potato chip, the holy grail of rainy day salty snacks. The two prepare a shrine for their deep-fried deity when DW snitches them out to her mom, giving her ample time to steal the tainted tuber. The boys quickly deduce DW's dastardly deed and decide to get their revenge by making DW think she poisoned herself. DW is now convinced she only has days to live. She decides not to tell her mom for fear of getting in trouble for stealing the chip in the first place, because this snot-nosed snack swiper would rather take an early grave than a 10-minute timeout. The next day, DW goes to the park to get advice from the Tibble tire marks, who confirm that green chips are poisonous. Boy, don't eat the damn sand. Binky overhears DW's dilemma and realizes he has even less time than she does.
I ate a green one 2 days ago.
Instead of talking to a single grown-up, the two resolve to treat every day as if it were their last. The two become fast friends as they bond over living life to the fullest, while simultaneously wasting a perfectly good kite.
It's amazing what you can do in one day if you try real hard.
Yeah, cute joke, but seriously, the episode takes place in May. What the hell is wrong with the weather in Elwood? DW decides to speedrun the calendar so she can enjoy all the holidays in one go. Though honestly, it's strange she thinks she's gonna die when clearly the Tibble's Pica is gonna take them out first. Meanwhile, Binky stands up to Mr. Ratburn, proving this 9-year-old has more balls than I ever will. Binky manages to weasel out of his punishment by giving his principal a midlife crisis.
I won't be a life fritter awayer.
That's not how you pronounce that.
Binky then decides to do the most daring thing a boy in the late 90s could do, take ballet. But all jokes aside, would this really be a big deal nowadays? I know this episode came out 25 years ago. What? But I don't think any boy would get bullied for taking ballet in 2024. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like dance classes have the same appeal now that karate had to kids in the 90s and early 2000s. Yeah, remember when every kid and their brother took karate classes? Where are they now? Arthur suspects something is up with DW, who's been acting suspiciously unbitchy for over a week. His suspicions grow when he overhears her and Binky reminisce over their recent acid trip.
Have you ever really looked at a leaf? I did yesterday for 5 hours.
DW is about to go to Binky's recital when she swipes a green chip out of her brother's mouth. Arthur reveals he lied about the chips being poison and realizes DW's sudden kindness was only brought on by her fear of death.
I told you you should have told your mom right away.
Oh, you did not.
Yes, she did.
You'd better tell your mom.
Instead of waiting till after Binky's recital, DW sneaks backstage to tell him the truth during the middle of his performance. Binky unsurprisingly develops instant stage fright, until his friends convince him to finish the performance. Binky thanks DW for giving him the courage to take ballet in the first place, even though she's also the one who made him think he had less than a week to live. It would seem all's well that ends well, but you'll never believe what happens next.
Usually I'm looking for like a new rim shot. It's anytime I open up.
Arthur and his friends are excited to see a live taping of a show where kids reveal their most humiliating experiences on camera, a show that would be largely irrelevant in the era of TikTok and Instagram. DW wants to tag along, but Arthur says she's too immature. He reminds her of when she ruined his trip to the movies, and the more recent example of when she freaked out after eating a green potato chip. Arthur's parents tell him not to tease DW, even though they were laughing at her just a few seconds ago. Arthur tells DW she can come if she can prove she's mature enough. DW accepts his Sisyphean challenge and checks out the biggest book in the library with the help of her squeaky-ass wagon. DW next tries to prove herself by ordering a mature dessert.
I'll have something vegetarian.
It's ice cream, it's already vegetarian. DW notices she's being treated differently by everyone in town, including the Tibble Tremors. She realizes the whole town has found out about her green potato chip incident, much to her horror. She instantly assumes Arthur blabbed to everybody and sets out to get her proof. She spends the next few days spying on Arthur and Buster, only to realize she's a rather defective detective. Things go from bad to worse when Buster's mom publishes the story in the citywide newspaper. DW begs help from Arthur, even though she was cursing his name just moments ago. Arthur is so used to his sister's crap, he knows it's better to just play along and do whatever she wants. She drags him around town to steal everyone's newspaper before they have a chance to read the article, which sounds funny until you remember newspaper theft is a criminal offense. DW racks up dozens of misdemeanors, only to find the papers have been re-delivered. DW is left to wallow in her own self-pity. Instead of thanking her brother for helping her with her crime spree, she goes back to blaming him for spreading the story in the first place.
It's just like the times you stole my Crazy Bus CD and my Snowball.
Oh, you can just fuck all the way off. Surprise, surprise. It turns out Mrs. Reed is the one who leaked the story to the press. She plans to send the article to everyone she knows, because Jane Reed is a Jane is somehow surprised her daughter is upset with her for making fun of when she thought she was going to die. She promises not to tell the story anymore, even though the damage has already been done, and DW is now the laughingstock of the whole town. DW apologizes to Arthur for being mean to him, proving the 4-year-old has surpassed her mother's maturity. Arthur takes pity on his sister and invites her to the show.
That worked out happily for everyone.
Shut your goddamn mouth. DW is waiting in line for the taping when she overhears her mom gossiping about the potato chip story, even though she literally just promised never to do that again. DW runs off in tears, with her maternal trust now permanently shattered. She runs into Binky, who tells her to just stare down anyone who's being mean to her, which only works if you're already big and scary. Mrs. Reed tracks down DW so she can apologize for ruining her life. She says she only brought up the story because people keep asking her about the article, which is a problem she should have thought of before she went talking to the press. Instead of making a public apology for humiliating her daughter, Mrs. Reed decides to just ignore the article until people stop talking about it. Mother of the Year, everybody. DW finally gets to see the show, where it turns out Binky turned his own brush with death into a whimsical ballet. And to this day, I'm still not sure if this potato chip costume was actually edible, or if Binky just took a huge-ass bite out of a foam suit. Let's review. DW stole a green potato chip from her brother, because she didn't have the patience to wait 5 minutes for him to share. When she thought she'd been poisoned, she decided to face death alone instead of telling the truth. She roped Binky into her end-of-life crisis, leading the two to speedrun their...
Hey, I was recommended myself.
move on from the whole conversation. But it looks like that was never in the cards. It's weighed heavy on the mind of her boyfriend, who brings it up out of the blue again, just to remind her how awful the conversation was. In the follow-up message, he decides to just go whole hog and let it all hang out here to just reignite this argument. He says, yes, I say wrong stuff to you sometimes. I know I make mistakes, but not this time. I stand by what I said yesterday, and this time you were in the wrong. But I'm heading to bed. I love you. Good night. And she reminds him, like, hey, we fully discussed this last night. There was no reason to bring it up again except to attempt to make me feel bad. Just because you're in a bad mood doesn't mean you should try to bring me down with you. She's 100% right. They had already discussed it. There is no reason to keep doing this again, this song and dance. Just let it be. But he just can't do that. I know, but this is serious shit. And then he censors the word shit. He puts stars on his swear word like he's a 12-year-old in Twitch chat that has the language filter on. This is a 29-year-old man who is censoring the word shit. And we've only just begun with the exceptionally wacky stylings of this 29-year-old fucking
for 10 viewers gold
if you use any
BLZGVPR42PA1KGJ5GQ. Copy and activate it here. Get by EWERSPRO.
Sounds like a scam to me. Squirtle doesn't fall for scams anymore. He's smart now. I'm pretty sure that's bullshit. Where are the 10 viewers gonna come from? Whatever.
Institute, I am done with you. And I'm sorry I say this because I care about you too much, and you're much worth more. And you're much worth more. I don't that's all over the place. I think he was just so angry. I mean, he dropped the word shit. You could tell his temper was flaring up. He used a naughty word, so I think he was just scrambling to say words in a panic. And then she just goes, I'm not talking about this. It's fine if you don't have the mouth of a sailor, but why censor it? Just don't even use the word. You could have said poop. This is some serious poop, m'lady. You're talking about drugs. Unacceptable. Why even bother censoring yourself? Oh, it's so cringe. And we've only just begun. She says there's no reason to go over this again. We talked about it. It's over. Drop it. Really just trying her best to move on from this because it's only going to get worse. But he's already too deep. He's already made his bed and it's time to piss his pants in it. Okay, but promised me you won't do it and I will drop the whole thing. She again reminds him, I already fucking told you I wouldn't do anything without talking to you first. Leave it alone. I'm done with this conversation. But it's just not registering in his mind. His neurons are just firing and he's going into flight or fight mode and he's fighting his own demons here. Don't get angry at me just because you had a drug problem in past. That's not my problem. That's your problem. Which is a crazy fucking thing to say to your significant other. Jesus. And she goes, bro, you're being dense right now. Just shut up and leave it alone. This isn't a conversation to be had over text, and we already talked about it on the phone. Just drop it, dude. Now, if you pause to read the explanation for the context around these messages, you'll know that the drug problem he's referring to is her smoking weed when she was 19, and the one time she tried cocaine. That's the drug problem to this guy. He speaks as if he's like a 14 class on Dare, and now he is scared. He can't sleep anymore. He has to go to bed with one eye open and Narcan on the dresser next to him, just in case a burglar comes in and tries to force him to OD on drugs. Like drugs are out to get him and everyone he cares about. And he just keeps spiraling. You have to change that blank. He's literally beeping himself with a sensor. You have to change that beep, stupid attitude. And I'm not your beep, bro. And I'm not your beep, dude. Maybe that's why wow, that's hard to read. The grammatical catastrophe that he's unleashed upon my eyes is really fucking with my brain. I'm not your beep, dude. Maybe that's what you'll call your beep friends. I don't give a beep. I'm not your beep friend. I'm not your beep. X is beep. Remember that. Like, what in the world is happening? This is the most childish text message I've ever seen in my life. It's like a kid melting down on League of Legends. This is a 29-year-old man. And he's speaking like this. He's a fucking boy. He's a baby boy. Why is he censoring his texts like this? Oh, it's so awful. It's so bad. I can't even parse what he's trying to say with his last statement there at the end. I'm not your fucking friend, which is, again, a wild thing to say to your significant other. You're supposed to be their best friend, basically. That's the whole point of being in the relationship, but whatever. But this is where it gets extraordinarily confusing. And I'm not your fucking ex's blank. Remember that. Your ex's what? Your ex's fuck? Remember that? Is that what he's saying? I don't know. What does that mean? And she says, I don't know what your problem is, but directing at me is not going to help. I'm not talking about this. I'm done responding for the night. Have a good one. And he just goes, we done. If you keep going. So, full-blown caveman mode now. I will drop it now. Anyway, how's your day? From all of this into, like, immediately de-aggroing, like, an NPC in a video game. And he's like, oh, so how's your day? Did you have a good day today? I bet you did. I bet it's better now that you're talking to me, right? And then her response is, it was better before you started this. And then that once again sends him off. Well, that's your problem. I just don't want to crackhead girlfriend, and please don't call me bro. I'm not your stupid friends. What the crackhead girlfriend? What are you talking about? She mentioned that the only drug she'd be interested in trying is shrooms, and she wouldn't even actually do it because she doesn't have a real interest. That's just the only one that even sounded somewhat appealing. He's lost his marbles. He's off his gourd for this. And eventually she's like, just go to bed. You need a nap. You're not you when you're tired. And then he hits her with like a threat. It'll be really funny when you're 6 feet under. And she goes, oh boy, here we go again. And he says, anyway, enough of this. Now I think he's referring to, you know, if you try drugs, you're dead instantly. You'll instantly die if a drug touches your body. It'll put you 6 feet under instantaneously. Like, I don't know if he's actually threatening that he'll put her 6 feet under, but that is kind of how it reads. But I think what he's trying to say is that the drugs are going to kill her, and he's the only one that can save her from going down this destructive path. Now, obviously, and here's a hot take, drugs aren't good for you. But what he's doing here is an outrageous overreaction, and the way he's treating his girlfriend is unacceptable. He's just yelling and screaming at her like it's an episode of fucking Scared Straight. All over her, going over a hypothetical of if she was to ever try a drug, she'd want it to be shrooms because that's the only one that sounds even somewhat interesting, but she doesn't even want to do it. She's not saying she's going to go do shrooms or anything like that. She's not going down this path to being a crackhead like he thinks she is. This is just ridiculous the way he's treating her over this. And don't even get me started on his potty mouth, all those nasty words he's been using here. But luckily for all of us, he's tastefully censored all of them for us. Clearly don't respect me. You think I'm a joke when I'm saying the truth. I wish just once you just listen to me. I think you're a joke, buddy. I'll say it. She won't, but I will. I think you are fucking cringe incarnate. She says, I'm listening. I'm just tired of you repeating it over and over when this whole thing was finished last night. Of course I don't want to hear it again. I dropped it. You should too. Leave it alone. And then he tries to play the saint again, like he's just looking out for her and it's all for her benefit. He's the angel. You know I say this because you are very important to me. Maybe no one tells you this, but I'm the first to tell you. And I always stick with my words. That's what I have to say. And I'm sorry if you hurt, but I had to say it. What a fucking hero. There's better ways of saying it. And apparently you'd already had this conversation the night before. And everything was settled then, but you just keep going. And she said, you didn't have to say it, lol, but okay, whatever makes you feel good. And now the demon comes back out again. Fuck do that. Beep attitude. I'm telling you, if you keep doing this, I'm trying to be understanding, but you give me beep disrespect. Answer, I'm done with you. Fuck off. This mumbo-jumbo nonsense. Like, it's the episode of SpongeBob with the sailor words, basically, and he's censoring it in the text. It's so awful. And she goes, just remember, you brought this up, you started, I told you I wasn't talking about it anymore, but you're pushing it, I don't know what else to tell you. She is trying so hard just to move on from this. Like, just give it up, just stop. Why does he keep going? Just stop. And then he drops another extremely mean, nasty insult. saying, "No wonder your friend left you and your exes left you." What a huge piece of shit. Just a horrible thing to say to anyone, let alone the person you are dating. And then she just goes, "Ouch, yeah, fuck you." And then he comes back with another confusing head scratcher. "I was ready to drop it, but you keep fuck give me, bitch, just stop now." What am I reading? What is that sentence? Oh, man. Oh, brother, this guy stinks. And then he's like, "Ooh, that wasn't nice and I'm sorry." So he has an immediate change of heart within 2 minutes. And then he's like, he goes full apology mode here to try and save this, even though it's unsalvageable. This is where the relationship should end 100%. He goes, "I'm sorry for being an beep. I should have never said that. That was my fault. I really apologize." And thankfully she shoots that garbage down. "I really don't want to hear from you. Good night." And then he tries again to go really sweet talking, like, "Oh no, it's all a misunderstanding. Baby, I'm really sorry. That part I said, I didn't mean it. I'm really sorry. Anyway, baby, I'm so sorry. I should have thought more about your feelings, and at that time I wasn't thinking, and that part I said was really not nice, but I love you." So he signs off with yet another completely incomprehensible, dumb, stupid text. But at least there was no censoring in the last part. He didn't use any foul language that needed to be, censored, because he's a classy guy. He wouldn't want any of those yucky words being uncensored in these texts. But yeah, as far as I can tell, she is planning on leaving him, according to the comments, I think. She said she's not going to give him another chance to show this side of him, which is good, because this relationship shouldn't continue past this point. That right there is the kibosh on it with the things he said about this. She didn't do anything wrong. She was just talking about a hypothetical. If she was to try a drug again, it would be shrooms, because it's the only one that seems even somewhat interesting. But she even said multiple times she didn't want to, and she wasn't planning on it anytime at all, really. And this guy just had this crazy overreaction to it. So yeah, huge weirdo, big cringe guy. That's about it. So yeah.
Hey, how's it going? Sean Cannell here from Think Media. If you want to get an unfair advantage in a very competitive YouTube landscape,
This video is brought to you. The Reed family is planning their next big trip when Arthur suggests they go to Washington, D.C.
That's a capital idea.
For some reason, that joke hits differently now. DW wants to go to Ponyland, which looks like Dollywood on acid. Arthur points out DW got to pick their last vacation to a Santa-themed tourist trap.
How can you share a Sunday with Santa if you don't bring a Sunday to Santa?
The Reed parents should have done the bare minimum research on this place before driving all the way there. DW is outvoted and makes it abundantly clear she is not happy about it.
I don't care about the president. I care about ponies.
I'll give her this. At least she has her priorities in order. DW reluctantly agrees to go on the trip, like she has a choice, after her dad agrees to let her pick the next vacation. That doesn't stop her from trying to guilt trip him into buying her a pony. DW spends the entire car ride being passive-aggressive as fuck, by pointing out every single pony she sees. Arthur fantasizes about meeting the president and becoming best friends. Who cares? DW spends the whole trip bitching and moaning about the lack of ponies and how boring everything is. And as someone who's been guilty of being that guy on a vacation, I assure you whining about every little inconvenience just further incentivizes your family to leave you behind. The Reed family decides to take a tour of the White House. DW says fuck that, sneaks off on her own, and ends up getting locked out of the tour. DW is now missing, and the White House is on full lockdown. Arthur worries what might happen if DW runs into the president.
It is now illegal not to own a pony. And the national anthem has been changed to Crazy Bus.
Nowadays, this would be the most realistic part of the episode. The Reed parents ask security to help them find DW.
That's it? Initials? You didn't give the kid a whole name?
Best character ever. DW bumps into the president and the two bond over their love of horses. DW is reunited with her family before she can do any real damage to democracy. The president invites the Reed family to dinner, and Arthur spends the whole time kissing his ass. On the ride home, DW says she wants to be president when she grows up, which honestly may or may not be an improvement over the current situation. Let's review. DW chewed out her family.
I changed my mind. Let's see. Settings. System. Oh wow. Maybe we'll come back to it. Maybe somebody will show up. If Squirtle's in frame, somebody has to show up, right? Let's watch the key for YouTube success together. What do you think is the best way? Hack the YouTube algorithm. Huh. Alright. Squirtle's gonna answer all the questions because he's a genius. What do you think is the best way to get more views on YouTube? Hack the algorithm. That would be the best way. Like, I wonder what happens if I say that. Well, Squirtle said it. If it's passion. Well, I already have a passion. It's not enough to just... If you're passionate about achieve... I am passionate. I've been doing this shit for 2 years. Heck yes. Education, coaches, habits. How are you feeling? Personalized lessons, daily tasks, and coaching. Today is a big day for you. Your dreams and your future on YouTube. Did you hear that, Squirtle? Today is the fresh start. I'm ready. There. Alright, I'm ready. I'm ready. Ooh. Winning on YouTube. So what does it look like to win on YouTube? A growing fan base, videos getting more and more, making a difference, bigger opportunities. There's a lot to learn and implement on your channel to get there. Together we'll work through 6 courses. You won't complete them because there's work to do, blah blah blah. You'll be getting closer and closer to winning. Six steps. Alright, master the YouTube algorithm, attract the right viewers, get massive numbers of those viewers. Make them quickly fall in love with my channel and scale the growth. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what it takes. You're free to work through the courses at a few days. You design the courses so you can make progress with only blah blah blah. Define your why. It's true, passion changes over time. Be a source of motivation. They want you to absolutely crush it on YouTube. Do they? Or do they want me to pay $20 a month? First, it's your goal. It's likely not what's motivating you. You need to find the deeper, darkest purpose. Why do you want to achieve this goal? To be awesome. Well, that's my answer. To be awesome. But Squirtle has a more elaborate answer. Fulfill. How do I fulfill a dream of participating? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't record this. Maybe I'll just edit it. Yeah, we'll just cut this part out in editing. Okay. So, how will your life be different? My life will be different? Because I'll feel like I am mounted to something and provide entertainment, information, community. How the YouTube algorithm works. You know, somebody would show up. I would have thought somebody would show up by now. Here's how. If your videos help YouTube get what it wants, then YouTube... Do you know what YouTube's algorithm wants? Alright. To determine which video wants to see. In other words, YouTube's algorithm on each pretty darn good at it. If you ever been selected, you experience this firsthand. YouTube decides that the video, how much a viewer spends in the video, tracks viewers' preference for the type of content they typically consume. YouTube analyzes which viewers contribute to the viewer staying on, leading to the longest viewer session. Maybe they can use one of my videos of Squirtle singing. Okay, how they engage and didn't engage is does that mean for reaching your goals on YouTube? Optimize for people. Make content people want to watch. Okay. Wow. I haven't forgotten about the YouTube algorithm. Maybe that's what's been holding me back for the past 2 years. Wait, you said it was important. It is important, but it's to stop. Instead, think about I quit sugar for 30 days. This is what happened. Wow, it was my opinion. Okay, great. Done. Alright. I guess we'll stop there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like, subscribe, and bye-bye. Alright, we're gonna post that now. Wait a minute. Hero drop frames, let's fucking go! Whoa! Alright. Squirtle's gonna answer all the questions because he's a genius. I know just what to do. Let's go to Google Images. Okay. Now, let's go to paint. Question. Alright. And you. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Alright. Open. Okay. Next. VidIQ logo. Okay, that wasn't good. That was a PNG, but that wasn't good enough. Not good enough, Gary. Alright, menu. Now let's see what it looks like. Alright. Squirtle's gonna answer all the questions because he's a genius. What do you think is the best way to get more views on YouTube? Hack the algorithm. That would be the best way. Like, I wonder what happens if I say that. Well, Squirtle said it. It's passion. Well, I already have a passion. It's not enough to just... If you're passionate about achieving... I am passionate. I've been doing this shit for 2 years. Heck yes. Education, coaches, habits. How are you feeling? Okay. Today's growth plan. Creators are some of the most creative people around. Duh. Probably always thinking about... Yes, I am. Next bit. But we're here for you. Scan through your content and have some new ideas. You can find your channel's ideas here in the dashboard. Uh, How do I even do that? Falling into rifts on Fortnite. Okay, but how do I do that? How did I even manage that? Well, I mean... Yeah. View your daily topic opportunities. Ready? Okay. Comedy. YouTube. What else do we have? Oh, let's try Nintendo. else are we about? We also got some of that stop motion. Alright, let's do that. Let's see. Huh. If only somebody were here. Hmm. Okay. Here's some, we call them keyword opportunities. There's a score. We have even, you can always find. Hmm. Hmm. Oh well. I guess. Okay. So, now what? We did all the vidIQ ones. Competitors. How many competitors do I have? I'm not even going to try that. You can't even see me. Oh, there I am. Maybe if I zoom in a whole lot. Oh well. I have 430 average views a day. Huh. That's not bad. Alright. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Now what do I do? Squirtle, now what do I do? Yeah. Oh, I guess we'll close that for now. Alright. Squirtle's gonna answer all the questions because he's a genius. What do you think is the best way to get more views on YouTube? Hack the algorithm. That We'll watch my competitors' videos.
I'm almost embarrassed to admit this given how popular it is right now, but I had no idea what Stanley Cups were. I had only ever known the Stanley Cup as the Hockey Championship Trophy, and I also only knew it as what Matt called his water cup. And I thought he was just being quirky because he likes hockey, he's a huge hockey fan, so I thought he was just being a little zany by calling his cup the Stanley. But apparently it's a massive cultural phenomenon right now with people flocking and fighting over getting the newest limited edition Stanley Cup drops. Now, I'd also known Stanley as a company that makes a bunch of tools, but I assume that was totally separate from the company that's making these cups. It's not. It's the same company, and they struck gold with this cup. So I'm sure you've seen a lot of the videos that have flooded TikTok and Twitter about people camping out outside of Target at like 4 a.m. waiting like 10 hours and whatever, just for the chance at getting a Stanley Cup from the limited edition drop here. Just the opportunity to try. And there's also been someone that like hopped over the counter to steal some Stanleys. The reselling on these cups is outrageous. Some of them are going for $200+ online right now. It's the most important item on the planet right now. If you had to choose between getting a life-saving surgery or spending that money on a Stanley, you're better off getting the Stanley, because if you're caught without one, you might as well be dead. Everyone loves this cup right now. If you flexed a Rolex at someone, like flashed a massive Rolex at someone, they'd be like, yeah, whatever, where's your Stanley, brokey? It's on a whole nother level. I haven't seen this kind of consumerism hype since Supreme Madness like 5, 6, 7 years ago, however long ago that was. But anyway, let me just go ahead and show you
How long have I been streaming? 1 hour. I expected somebody to show up. Ugh.
Who's pumped for tax season? Let's get out there and crush those taxes. Who's with me?
We know some freelancers.
I just bought 5 million real YouTube views to test whether you could just pay your way to YouTube success. And this video is going to reveal my costs, my analytics, and all the results I got. But you might be wondering, how could you actually pay your way to YouTube success? Now, there are 6 main ways to buy views on YouTube. And the goal of this video is to test all 6 of these methods to see how they work and which one is the best, if any. And we start our journey in the deepest, darkest depths of YouTube view buying land, which is buying bot views. Now, buying these types of views is very much against YouTube's community guidelines, aka if you encourage or participate in this, YouTube could delete your video. So this video is just going to be for research purposes only. So essentially, I started my journey by doing a bit of research, trying to figure out which one of these websites was not just going to take my money and run. And then I found one. It's this website, which I'm going to anonymize, and I was faced with the choice of buying real views or regular views, because apparently regular views aren't real, which is really rubbing it in. Now, after talking to a live chat agent, I finally deduced that regular views are basically just bot views. Essentially, these guys have programs set up that just run on autopilot, spamming out views on your videos. But these programs are intelligent and random enough that the YouTube algorithm theoretically can't detect them. The real views, on the other hand, as far as I can tell, come from click farms. And there's a real person with real accounts manually viewing your videos, but as you can see, this person's probably not going to become a loyal viewer of your channel anytime soon.
Why don't you get a day job, do something that contribute to society?
Now, obviously, I'm going to test both of these methods, but let's start small by just purchasing 10,000 regular views, which cost me a whopping $26 on sale. Bargain. Now, I know this isn't anywhere near the millions of views I promised at the start of this video, but trust, we will get there. Now I'm going to enter the link of the specific video I want to buy views for. We're going to check out. Ironically prove that we're not a robot. I'm going to cross my fingers, cover my webcam, and enter my payment details. Oh god. Now, as we can see, it's going to take between 4 and 18 weeks for my views to actually be delivered. So while we wait, let's go buy ourselves some real views. So basically, I just selected real views and went through the exact same process I just showed you. We bought 10,000 of them, which cost me $52. Now again, I know I'm being a bit of a tight ass here, but trust me, we'll make up for it later in the video. Now, the good or bad news, depending on how you want to look at this, is that both of my videos did get 10,000 views, and both of my videos have not yet been flagged or deleted by YouTube. So it looks like we got through the algorithm undetected. But what we're interested in more than the actual views is some of the deeper analytics. Well, first, let's look at the video where we bought bot views. So you can see this video has gotten 9,998 views. We purchased our views right about here on day 94. and we continued getting views until on about day 160-ish, where you can see our graph sort of flattened out here. But what we're really interested in here is how much money it actually costs us to get these results. So how much money do we actually pay per view? How much money do we actually pay per subscriber, per watch hour? Because knowing these numbers is going to help us calculate our ROI on these bought views, and then we can objectively compare the different view buying methods in this video to figure out which one is the best, if any. So I made a spreadsheet. Well, first let's look at the video that we bought bot views on. So in terms of what our stats actually look like, we're paying about 0.26 cents per view. Interestingly, we also got 78.4 watch hours from this promotion, which works out at about 34.95 cents per watch hour. To put that into perspective, at these numbers we'd need to spend about $1,398 to reach the 4,000 watch hours benchmark for monetization. We also got a whopping 3 subscribers, which works out at about $8.66 per subscriber, which looks like a staggering $8,666 if we wanted to use this method to buy 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, hell no!
What I'm really interested to see though is whether or not these views actually triggered the algorithm. So what you can do is you can go into your video and you can click on see more, and then from content come across to traffic source. This is going to show us a breakdown of the views we got and where they actually came from, which is going to help us distinguish between the YouTube algorithm promoting our videos and the bot views that we got. So what we can see down here is that we've got 7,230 views from direct or unknown, and 2,678 views from external. These are clearly our bot views here. Now, when it comes to the YouTube algorithm giving us views, these usually come from browse features and suggested videos. To put this into perspective, we've gotten 15 views from the YouTube algorithm as a result of buying 10,000 bot views. And so the ROI for this method is not that great. If we come and look at our retention graph, we can see it is pretty miserable. Also, if we come across to our click-through rate, we can see that it is about 2.4%. In general, I think it's safe to say that a 2.4% click-through rate is pretty bad. So just getting more views wasn't enough to tip this video over the edge. But how does this video compare to the video where we bought real views? So in terms of the stats on our real views video, it got 10,000 views as well, but a slightly higher amount of watch hours and also a slightly higher number of subscribers. If we actually look at how these numbers work out, we're paying here about 0.52 cents per view, paying about 50.4 cents per watch hour, and we're spending about $13 per subscriber. Now, if we come into this video and see whether or not our promotion triggered any organic growth, we actually got less organic views from the YouTube algorithm with this video, even though we paid for real views. In terms of the other stats for this video, our retention graph looks equally horrendous, and our click-through rate is miserable. Now, to put this into perspective, one of my students posted this exact same video on his channel, and here's what that video's analytics look like with 100% organic traffic. As you can see, our click-through rate is far better, our retention is far better than anything our bot or click farm views were able to generate, even though this is the exact same video. But with all that being said, how do we actually rank bot and click farm views on a tier list compared to the other view buying methods we're going to cover later in this video? Before we can give it a ranking, there are a few other things we need to consider. Firstly, all of the views that we just bought are never going to become active loyal viewers on our channel. Also, all the views we just bought are pretty much worthless when it comes to actually generating money because they came from a third world overseas country, and as YouTubers we don't get paid as much ad revenue for views that come from those places.
Don't shoot, I'm just a messenger.
Also, it was a little bit painful trying to suss out the right website to try and make sure I wasn't just going to get scammed out of my money. There was a big time delay on those views actually being delivered to my video on my channel. So based on all of that, I would put our bot views in C tier, whereas our more expensive click farm views, which essentially did the exact same thing as the bot views but just for more money, definitely is going in D tier. So now we move on to testing some of the more reputable promotional methods, and the first one is relatively new as of creating this video, but it's pretty cool. What you can do is when you log onto YouTube Studio, you want to come to content, and then for most channels up in the top right hand side you're going to see promotions. It's currently in beta, but if you click here your tab's probably going to look a little bit different to this one because I've already run a promotion, but you should see a button that says plus new promotion. You want to click on that. From here you'll be asked to select the video from your channel that you want to promote. I could just say this one, and then YouTube's going to promote your video as an ad across the platform in a way that looks like this. If we hit next, from here you're going to be able to choose what countries you want to target, and you can also choose a specific language if if you click on this drop down. From here, if you click on next, you can choose how much money you want to spend on the promotion. And if you click on this drop down, you can select how long you want the promotion to actually run for. From here, you just click on promote, input your payment details, and you're good to go. But I'm not going to do that because I've already run a campaign. I want to share with you my experiences with this method. So in terms of the actual numbers for this test, I spent about $100, got 300,000 impressions, got about 1,580 views, and 240 subscribers. On average, I was paying about 6.3 cents per view. To put that into perspective, for 1,000 views, I need to pay about $63. I was paying about $7.70 per watch hour, so I'd need to fork out a staggering $30,000 just to get 4,000 watch hours using this method. Now, so far, the stats are a little bit miserable, but when we come to cost per subscriber, we can see that I'm averaging about 1 subscriber for every 41 cents spent, which I'm actually very impressed with. That's far cheaper than any method we've currently tested. If we come to the analytics of this video and we dive into the traffic, what we can see here is the bottom line is our YouTube advertising. You can see it's 0 views up until we hit about July 26th, and you can see the above lines are browsed features and suggested features. So this is the algorithm sending us traffic, and you can see it looks like our advertisement has basically had no impact. I don't see a decline in views or an increase in views correlating with when we started or stopped promoting this video. So how does this method compare to other view buying methods? In terms of our actual stats for this video, our average view duration is actually pretty underwhelming, especially considering how many people subscribed. It's only 31 seconds. So a couple of things. Firstly, it's really easy to set up a campaign. You can do it within YouTube, and I like that I can select what country I want to run my promotion in. However, something you might have noticed when we went through that build out process is that YouTube never asks us what kind of viewers we want to target. We can select the country and language, but that's it. Now, my guess is YouTube looks at the viewers of your previous videos to figure out what kind of people to send your promoted videos to. So for a channel like mine that has an established audience, that works fine. But I could see this being a bit of a problem for a brand new channel that has very little data, or if you're a variety channel that doesn't have a very focused audience. So with all this being said, when we weigh everything up, I think promotions probably belongs in B tier. It's a tad expensive unless you're solely after subscribers. But is there a way to get a lot of views cheaper than using YouTube promotions, but also without breaking YouTube's community guidelines? Well, let me introduce you to Google Ads, which is basically the most advanced way of running promotions. And I recently spent about $88,000 to buy over 5.4 million views. So this is where some of these numbers get pretty big and exciting. But first, how do you actually use a Google Ads account to promote your YouTube videos? Well, you want to go to Google, just type in Google Ads, and you want to go to ads.google.com. From here, you can just click on Start Now and just follow the prompts to create a completely free account. Once you've created your account and gone through like the basic setup and stuff, you should see a page that looks like this. And we want to click on this plus button that says Create, and we're going to create a campaign. So we're going to select Create a Campaign without a goals guidance, and then we're going to click on Video. We're going to leave this on default, hit Continue. You can name your campaign, you can add your budget here, you can choose how long you want your campaign to run for. I usually like to let campaigns run over a number of days, because what you'll find is that the algorithm will optimize if you give it more time. Come down here, we're going to click on networks and get rid of video partners on the Google Display Network, because we just want to be promoted on YouTube. And if we come down here to locations, click on enter another location. And then in enter another location, I like to add the following countries. Pause the video and see what these countries are. The reason I add these countries specifically for this type of campaign is that these countries are the cheapest to advertise in, yet they have a relatively large number of English speaking people, meaning we can get pretty cheap views. So then you want to come down here and just make sure you select English. Going to continue scrolling down, leave everything else on default, and then you're just going to copy and paste the link of the YouTube video you want to promote in here. So for example, I could just chuck this one in, and what we're going to do is select skippable in-stream ads. And then this video is going to show up as one of those skippable pre-roll ads that you see all over YouTube. Then what you're also going to do is in final URL, you're also going to paste the link of that video. So what's going to happen is when people click on this ad video, they're going to be sent to the video actually on your channel page. Then what we're going to do is we're going to click on call to action here. For the call to action, we're going to click here and we're going to come down to watch now, and you can just leave the headline as it is. For your maximum cost per view, I'd usually recommend just putting in like $1 or $2. It's not actually going to be that expensive, but sometimes if you put in a really low number, the campaign just won't spend money. And then from here, you just click create campaign and it's going to start running and promoting your video. So I recently ran this campaign here for $100 promoting this video here on my channel. Now this video is a video that I thought was going to do terribly in terms of views, and it did, because it's about me and my story, and that's not what people watch my videos for. But I wanted this video to be on the channel for brands, sponsorships, or more hardcore fans who want to learn a little bit more about me. But it looked really embarrassing when the video only had like 5,000 views. So I wanted to boost it a little bit, and that's why I created this campaign. So in terms of the actual results of these types of campaigns, you can usually be looking at a cost per view of about 1.1 cents. In terms of watch hours, I'm looking at about 39 cents per watch hour, which is pretty good. On the other hand, I'm paying $10 per subscriber, which is similar to some of the other methods we mentioned so far, except for the YouTube promotions method, which blew this one out of the water. Now, in terms of whether or not promoting this video triggered any organic growth, the results were pretty much the same as what we've seen throughout this entire process. It had little to no impact whatsoever. But speaking of having an impact on videos, there's a bit of fear going around that if you buy ads on your videos, YouTube's just going to stop promoting them organically. So in Spiff's video, he bought a bunch of views using YouTube ads, which you can see from this spike here. And you can see after he bought those ads, his views dropped off significantly. So it looks like he essentially just killed his views. But in my testing, I haven't found a situation where this has actually been the case. Just to show you some real examples, if you have a look at the orange line, this is where I bought views through YouTube ads. Now, if we look at the other lines here, these are representing YouTube search, YouTube browse features, and suggested videos, which is basically the YouTube algorithm promoting our content. And as you can see, there's pretty much no noticeable impact of the YouTube algorithm not sending me views just because I bought advertisements. Pretty much the closest example I could find of a YouTube video being killed by paying for advertisements was this one. You can see the green line here is when I started paying for advertisements. So you can see I went from 0 advertisement views up to like 3,000 advertisement views. And you can see that around about that same time, my browse features traffic, which is the blue line, kind of flattened out. And so it looks like, oh, maybe I've killed my organic reach of this video. But if we come over to here, we can see that it starts to pick back up again and off it goes. Now, granted, these individual videos are much smaller numbers than what is showcased in the Spiffing Brits video. But actually, if we look at the graph in the Spiffing Brits video closely, something interesting happens. You can see that he started paying for ads around about here, but before he was paying for ads, his video was already dying. There was already a downward slope here. And so following his buying ads, the amount of views just kind of stayed basically as flat as it was when he started paying for the ads. But even so, later on, you can see over here on the right hand side, the views are starting to pick back up again, which kind of aligns with what I've found so far, which is usually it has no impact aside from a couple of circumstances where it seems like the algorithm like delays promotion a little bit for some reason, but then it starts to pick back up again later. Now, in saying all that, even though I don't think we should be too concerned about killing videos using this technique I just showed you, there are still two problems with this type of campaign. And that is, firstly, viewer loyalty. So for this video, there's basically no targeting other than countries, meaning it's just going to be shown to everyone. So people who do view this video probably aren't going to be that likely to actually want to stick around and become loyal viewers of the channel. Also, even though it's a hell of a lot cheaper to reach these, it comes at the cost of these people not being worth very much money to our channel. We're not going to get paid very much in ad revenue for having them here, and we're also not going to be able to sell them stuff or get many sponsors, which sounds very harsh and racist, but it's just the truth. I don't make the rules, it's just how it works. So to fix that, we could adjust our campaign slightly to still run this type of in-stream campaign, but in a slightly different way. So what we could do is we could get rid of our cheaper, low CPM countries and just enter higher, more valuable countries where our target audience are actually most likely residing in. For example, United States could be one. The other thing we could do, if we come down here to targeting, what we can do is we can add keywords that are related to our video. We could come to topics and search for particular topics that might be highly related to our video. Let's say like editing software maybe. And obviously you need to tailor this to who your target audience actually are. But when you do that, now all of a sudden your ads are probably going to be shown to people who are much more likely to want to be genuine viewers of your content. Now you might be wondering, well, why wouldn't you want to do this in the first place? And the reason is, well, it makes your results more expensive. Now all up, this is the method I've spent about $88,000 on to buy about 5 million views, because this is what most brands and clients are interested in my experience. And here are the average results I've found. So on average, a good campaign will get you views at about 1.6 cents. It will cost you about $1.42 per watch hour. And it'll cost you $35.85 per subscriber. So as you can see, a lot more expensive than our untargeted method. But again, there are people who are happy to spend more money to get a higher quality of person who's going to be more valuable to them and their channel. But there's actually still a problem with this type of campaign, and that is the way these in-stream ads actually show up on YouTube is in that skippable ad format we've all grown to hate. And the problem with this ad format is even if someone actually watches your video and enjoys it, they have to click on the link in the ad just to go to your channel, and then from there they can subscribe or watch your other videos. But that step of actually having to click the link in the ad adds a lot of friction. And so we can run a slightly different type of campaign if we want. What you could do is go through the exact same process I showed you earlier, but when you paste in your video link, instead of clicking skippable in-stream ad, you want to click on in-feed ad. From here you can enter your headlines and descriptions, and then your video will show up like this as an actual ad within YouTube. So if people now click on this ad, they'll be taken to the video on your channel, and if they enjoy it, it's going to be much easier for them to subscribe or watch more of your videos, because there's no extra step where they actually have to click on a link within an ad to then be taken to your channel. Now the disadvantage of an in-feed campaign is your views are going to be even more expensive. Our benchmark here is about 6 cents per view. It costs about 95 cents per watch hour, which isn't too bad actually. And for some reason I've found the cost per subscriber is relatively high, which is surprising because this ad format is the most similar one to the YouTube promotions method we talked about earlier, which has the cheapest subscriber rate. So in terms of where Google Ads will actually sit on our tier list, I've broken it into 3 different categories because the 3 different campaigns have their strengths and weaknesses. Now the first ad campaign type we talked about, the in-stream campaign without any targeting, I liked it because it got pretty cheap views and watch hours, so it's going up in A tier. On the other hand, our targeted in-stream ads, where we actually told them the type of person we want to show our ad to, got more expensive results, but the advantage of them is we're attracting a higher quality of viewer, and we also don't need any existing data or views on our channel to tell Google what type of person we want our ads to be shown to. So because of that, I'm going to put it in B tier. And last but not least, we have the in-feed, or as they were once called, discovery ads. These ads are the most expensive Google Ads video campaign that we can run out of the ones we covered, but I like that the friction is reduced. You don't need to click on a link to go to the person's channel if you like their content. Simply by clicking on the ad, you are on their channel automatically. And so because of that, I think it deserves to be in B tier as well. So $100,000 spent, nearly 6 million views generated, and one sexy tier list later, we can finally go over the overall results. So when it comes to buying views, the cheapest overall result were our bot views. However, they are against YouTube's community guidelines. So the second cheapest view was our Google in-stream campaign without any targeting at an average 1.1 cents per view. When it comes to watch hours, our bot views were the cheapest, but again, they are against YouTube's community guidelines. Our second cheapest, however, was again our YouTube in-stream campaign without any targeting. When we come to subscribers though, the new YouTube promotions feature easily takes the trophy at an average 41.5 cents per subscriber. Out of all of these campaigns I've run, none of them seem to have killed organic growth. However, I'm sure if you're extremely excessive with any of the non-targeted methods we've talked about, you might see some negative impact. And last but not least, all of the promotion methods we talked about did result in a small amount of organic growth triggered by the YouTube algorithm, but it's so small that it's definitely not worth the investment if that's what you're doing it for. And so they are definitely use cases for when you might want to buy views. The ideal way you want to be growing, in my opinion, is by getting organic promotion from the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to learn how to get that, click the video on screen.
Well, I think I'm just gonna cut it off here. I feel kinda nauseous. Maybe it's 'cause nobody's watching. That would explain it. Right, Squirtle? Right. Alright. Thanks for watching. Nobody like, subscribe, and blah blah.